It's almost time.
Now we'll find out once and for all about Clark Kent and Superman.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a TV show.
Yes, but who is he? What's his name?
He's Superman.
Golly, Clark, won't that be wonderful seeing Superman?
Fighting a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and television the Me TV way.
No one can do the things that Superman does.
The Adventures of Superman.
Now on Me TV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Glad you're here. It's a live broadcast. Welcome to call in at 436 Me TV option 11. Have one man in the studio here that wants your vote for mayor of Fresno. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. It's November the 8th. That's the general election. Back after this word, and we'll have a big conversation today for about an hour. Stick around. Back here on the program on a Friday morning on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. Glad you are here talking politics once again, and I'm glad to have the man who wants your vote as mayor. We'll also have his opponent at some point, I believe sometime next week, so we'll have Lee Brand on as well. But anyway, I do want to mention a quick programming note here, and I have had the pleasure of being invited to a golf tournament, to play in a golf tournament on Monday, and it's for charity. And it's for a good cause. It's for Shriners Hospital, hospitals all up and down the state of California. It takes place in Sacramento. As you know, my daughter had major hip surgery and foot surgery from Shriners Hospital. They did a great thing. They asked me to come there and speak on behalf of my daughter and myself and play in the golf tournament, and I'll be representing Ventura TV and Me TV Fresno. So that is a wonderful charitable cause for Shriners Hospital. So in return, I give you, the audience, on Monday, Kopi. We taped a program with Kopi this past week here. So Kopi and I will be on for a full hour with a full broadcast of Connect with Me on Me TV Fresno, to be broadcast on Monday morning from 10 to 11 o'clock here on Comcast 375 and 13.1 and 43.6 over-the-air broadcast. As for now, we are talking politics as usual. I want to put up a picture on the screen, my friends, and it's Luis Chavez. He is a current school board member. There he is right there. He is running for City Council District number 5. And the reason I mention this is because it kind of segues into my program today. Luis Chavez has been kind of a chief of staff, I believe, for Sal Quintero now for the last umpteen years. Quintero has termed out as a city councilman in this area, southeast Fresno, which is district number 5. Okay, so keep that picture up there for a moment because I want to talk about this. Luis was supposed to be here on Wednesday. He bailed out. He never even called, so I don't know why. But I will tell you what's going on in southeast Fresno. We'll talk about that and much more. Let me just tell you this. As you keep the picture up there for a moment, I just want to talk about rape being up 21%, robbery being up by 17%, aggravated assault being up by 34%, total violent crime up by 27% in the district that he is running for and that he is represented along with Sal Quintero the last, I don't know how many years. That's in southeast Fresno alone. So he's running on what record? Why hasn't someone done something about this crime in southeast Fresno? Now change it over to the graphics. I want to show you a citywide picture of the crime here in the city of Fresno. Murders, 24. That is, by the way, murders is down because we had 31 over the course of last year. Rape, 77. That's down by 24%. But robbery is up, 787. Aggravated assault is up by 20%, as you can see. And violent crime overall is up by 16.1% in the city of Fresno. This is overall within the city limits. Live in our studio right now, running for the city of mayor for the city of Fresno is Henry Perea. He's a former councilman. He is now currently a Fresno County supervisor. He wants your vote for mayor. We're going to talk about crime. We'll talk about Jerry Dyer. We'll talk about the police department and what's going on here in our own neighborhood in Southeast Fresno where Ventura TV is located. Why can't they get the handle on crime? Is it drugs? Is it the lack of jobs, the lack of money? What is it? Why can't they fix this? And Quintero and Chavez now, of course, running to take his place. Where have they been all these years? 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're back with our program here with the one and only Henry Perea.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the KitchenAid appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Save big with KitchenAid. Right now, get up to a $1,000 prepaid MasterCard when you purchase select KitchenAid appliances. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
I only bring up the crime stats because crime is still a major problem here in the city of Fresno, as it is all over the state of California. You've got Prop 47. Now you have Prop 57 to worry about, and you know about the rift between Sheriff Margaret Mims, of course, and Governor Jerry Brown, who supports Proposition 57, wanting to release more people out of prison. Henry Perea is here. Good to see you, my friend.
Glad to be here, John.
Running for mayor for the city of Fresno. And so in your view, obviously, I know you're going to come on here and say, yes, we need more police. Yes, we need to crack down on crime. But what do these numbers reflect? Just the numbers that I put up on the screen there in general. And what, as mayor, do you have the power to do about it?
Yeah, well, I think what these numbers reflect are just what happens in society, number one. I'm not saying that that's something that you accept. But I think when you take a look at what's happened in California the last 4 or 5 years with Prop 47, with the federal government suing the state, saying you have to release people out of your prisons. So when Governor Brown and the legislature were forced to release 30,000 people out of their prisons back into the communities, then you add Prop 47 on top of that, you see a recipe for disaster in communities because people are coming back out now, and law enforcement is having a more difficult time in holding these people accountable when they're recommitting these crimes. That's why you see those numbers of robberies going up, aggravated assault. It's these folks that are out in the community now that have fewer consequences. So, but if you peel it back even further than that, you're talking about the endemic issues in a community. I mean, we have a lot of poverty in this county.
No jobs.
No jobs. So I think from the education community to dealing with the health issues to dealing with transportation issues. I mean, you name it. We don't lack for issues. But you put all that together in a pot and add Prop 47 on top of it and releasing prisoners. We have what we have. But what can a mayor do about it? Well, I think what the mayor can do about it is start coalescing the resources to start impacting this issue, from working with all the schools, working with the county health and mental health departments, working with the sheriff to reallocate, police officers, deputy sheriffs, and working together. And how do we patrol our streets differently? I think you have all those conversations simultaneously because it's a ship that we have to turn, and it's not going to be overnight. But we have to start somewhere, and just the numbers you showed show how important it is to deal with crime in this community and keep people safe.
Is it, and I don't know how relevant this is, but you know about Colin Kaepernick protesting the national anthem.
Right.
Obviously, it's a national story. It's a worldwide story. It's almost like a springboard effect. Now, other players in other sports are doing the same thing now in professional sports. But basically what he's protesting is the oppression of minorities. Fresno has a lot of minorities, specifically Hispanics. some African American, although only 8% of the population. Is it that? Is it the oppression? Or is it people that just want to commit crimes? Or is it a combination of both?
You know, it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, Colin Kaepernick, certainly he's exercising his First Amendment rights to protest, and that's his call. But when you come into a community, again, I take it back to poverty. I mean, poverty crosses all lines in every community, and in this particular city.
You're talking about every ethnic line?
Every ethnic line, sure, absolutely. I mean, I could show you as a county supervisor the food stamps that we provide to people in this community. You know, it's like in the $70+ million a year that we provide in food stamps in Fresno County. And probably the most interesting statistic within that number, even though it touches all ethnic lines, from Caucasian to Hispanic to African American, and sometimes in proportion, higher proportions in population in some cases. But I think the most interesting fact in that is that over 50% of the people in Fresno County who receive food stamps are working. They're the working poor of this community.
Wow.
So it shows you how when the median income in the state is about $63,000, but the median income in Fresno County is like $45,000. And really, you dig below that, and you're going to find a lot of these folks are under $30,000 or less. I mean, you have husbands and wives working to support their families, but they're not making ends meet because we just don't have strong enough wages in this county. So they turn to the food stamp program to supplement their families so they can eat. And so that's a very strong statement. It just shows how much work we have to do in this community to transform it so that we have a broader economic base so people are working.
But I'm just wondering, if we provide jobs for all of those people that are committing crimes, how much would crime actually go down? That's the thought that goes through my head. Okay, maybe it is oppression, maybe Colin is right, maybe others are right, but whether you're white, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. Providing jobs and opportunity, will that help reduce crime? Is there any guarantee of that?
I believe it will. But I mean, it's the kind of thing where it starts. I mean, you have to start when a child is small. And I don't necessarily buy into the concept that just because you're poor, it just means that, your path is crime. I mean, I think there's a lot of personal responsibility that goes in here, and I know a lot of people struggle, but it doesn't mean or make an excuse for, so crime is the path. So, I think that there are just so many dynamics involved here, but I think we have to do a better job working between schools, city, county governments, and even the healthcare industry. Everybody coming together and say, how do we take our resources and start impacting this issue so we're raising healthy families, healthy kids in this community. But in the meantime, I don't have a problem with training programs and bringing more jobs. And we need more of that. But I think people have to also rise to a higher level too, and just saying, just because this is my circumstance, so that equates now I can go commit a crime. I don't completely buy into that.
And there are certain people that just live a life of crime. They want to go out and commit robbery at a 7-Eleven, or they do want to do the home invasions, or they do want to knock someone over the head at Fashion Fair and take their car, or whatever the case may be. Am I unfair in criticizing Sal Quintero, who's the outgoing city councilman, and asking him, what are you doing in Southeast Fresno? Why is this crime up? You've been in office. Now Chavez, you're chief of staff. Am I unfair in criticizing these people that have been in office and it seems to be going up, not down?
Yeah, no, it's not unfair. I mean, certainly all of us that are in elected office, we're holding a post. We're holding a trust that was given to us by the taxpayers, by the voters of this community. And what they're saying is, keep us safe, bring jobs, and keep our community clean. I mean, there's a whole host of things that they're entrusting us to with the money they give us. So, no, it's a fair criticism to ask, well, if crime is going up, why? And what are you doing about it? And, I mean, maybe one day, maybe Sal and or Mr.
Luis.
Chavez will come in and talk about that.
Yeah, because crime is up in this area, and it's a good area. There are a lot of prosperous businesses along up and down Ventura Avenue.
Yeah. I grew up on right off of Kings Canyon, so no, it's a great area.
Right, it's a great area. If you want to raise a family, yes, there is crime here, but you know what? There's crime in Northeast Fresno as well, with all the break-ins. As we all know, it's well publicized.
And there's dirty water in Northeast Fresno,
and there's dirty water, which we're going to talk about during the course of the program. 436 MeTV Option 11. This is a live broadcast talking to Henry Perea. I want your vote for mayor, and it's coming up on November the 8th. We're going to be back with our program in just a moment.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show.
It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
Biz TV is now on KDHF channel 4.6.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
Back here on the program, hey, let's put up a picture of Chief Dyer. Jerry Dyer's been the police chief since 2001. Is he in or out if you're elected mayor? I know you've been asked this question on Power Talk. I know you've been asked this question just about everywhere you've gone. Every media outlet has probably asked you this question. I want to know if you're going to fire Jerry Dyer. And your answer, has it changed?
Well, no, it hasn't. And, a lot of folks don't know that I was the reserve police officer with the city of Fresno for 15 years. Yeah. And back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, Chief Dyer and I were patrolmen at the time. So
you're good friends?
Yeah, we're good friends, and we work patrol together in the streets of the city. So we know each other at different levels. And he has a tough job. And what I would say is Chief Dyer, who has announced that he'll be leaving and retiring in the next year or two, I'm going to respect and honor that, because I think, is he perfect? No, but none of us are. I think he's done the best job that he can. I think a lot of people have his respect. So I think I work with the chief. We make some, minor changes where I, as the mayor, would see things maybe a little bit differently. But I think the real opportunity during this transition time, because I think that's what it's going to be, is we start looking at who the next chief of police will be for the city of Fresno and talk about what that process is going to be like.
Has he done a good job in your opinion?
I think he has. Yeah, I think he's done a good job. I know there are tensions in this community, people who think, well, maybe things could have been done differently. And like I said, nobody is perfect. And I don't think, and I've even been in circumstances where Chief Dyer has made the same kind of statement. I mean, we all wish we could redo or do some things differently that we did, or in this case, our departments did. But you do the best that you can. And but I think the key is being transparent, and I think when you make a mistake, I think you own it, and then you move forward and you fix it. So I think that's where a lot of discussion is. But I think on a go forward basis, when we hire the next police chief, it's going to be somebody that I will vet throughout this community, because I want this community to be a part of buying into who the next chief of police will be.
Put up the picture of Keith Foster. He's the former deputy police chief. A lot of people look at Chief Dyer and they say, you know what? Look no further than Keith Foster in that situation, that federal probe. He goes on trial next year in 2017. Allegedly, and he's accused of, charged with, but not convicted of, selling drugs and being involved in drugs as a high-ranking member of the police department. And then they look at Jerry Dyer and they say, you know what? Look no further than the Dylan Noble incident. And you combine the two, and it's like, okay, this is every reason why Jerry Dyer needs to go. Dylan Noble and Keith Foster. And your response would be?
Well, my response would be is, one, I don't have all of the facts in both issues. And as you mentioned, with Keith Foster, I mean, he's accused of doing some things, and I know he's going to trial. He's chosen to have his day in court, which is his right. I don't know what the circumstances are. And I don't know to what extent Chief Dyer knew or did not know what he was doing. I think, to be fair, you need to let that play itself out. Dylan Noble, tough situation. I think what's coming before the city and really the people of the city is Chief Dyer's decision on after his internal investigation of whether he supports or doesn't support the action. So I'm going to wait for that too. But I can't make a judgment on Chief Dyer until one plays itself out in court, and the other, of course, once he makes a decision, and then where we go from there. But I can't second guess him. I mean, I've been, as a patrolman, I've been in those situations where everything's real good, and then a second later you're wondering what happened. You're in quicksand, So I've been in shooting situations, and they're tough.
Yeah. Then you look at the Donald Trump rally here in the city of Fresno earlier this year. I was at the Trump rally, and I was also at the protest after the rally when they were blocking Ventura Avenue. I personally was a witness out there when Chief Dyer spoke to those protesters with a bullhorn. He also went in and talked to some of those protesters personally, had long conversations with them. He confronted them face to face, was cordial to them, was polite to them. I think he even signed autographs. I think he even took selfies with them. And eventually that thing broke up very peacefully. And you look at that and say, wow, police department did a terrific job. So when you look at Noble and you look at Foster and then you look at the situation with Dyer in this protest, it's almost like two opposites.
Yeah.
So there's some good and there's some bad. I'm not perfect, never said I was, but then the job of police chief is a completely different animal.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a very complex job, because you're working in a situation where your number one job is to keep the people of your community safe, and that's his task. And
has he done that?
Well, I believe that we have a police department that has been very effective in keeping people safe in their neighborhoods. I mean, do we have, like the previous discussion we had about the crime stats that we have? I mean, it's tough for a police department to anticipate, what somebody's going to do the next moment. A lot of times you're in a reactionary mode, but I think they do a very effective job in keeping us safe. Now, can we do things differently? Of course we can. But I think you made a great example right now of Chief Dyer and the way he handled those protests. I mean, we were watching what was happening around this country, and things got out of hand in a lot of cities, but they did it in Fresno, and I think a lot of it was because of the strength of Chief Dyer. Chief Dyer, talking, to people and respecting them, and I think that's what people want, respect. So I think when you kind of balance all those things out, you go back to again, who is perfect in this world? Let them stand up and let them tell us why. But I think he does the best he can with the resources he has and the situations that we have in this city.
All right, put up the photo of the shooter at the Fresno County Jail here just recently, just a few weeks ago. He went to court yesterday, of course, pleaded not guilty. We have a phone call here. Hang on, caller, just a moment, please. You can answer this just really quickly, and we'll delve into it just a little bit more. How would you, and I know it's the sheriff department, it's the Fresno County supervisors, but as mayor, how would you chip in and protect that jail more?
Well, I mean, first, I mean, that certainly hits close to home, because now you're talking about my backyard. That's our jail. Our sheriff manages it, and she does a great job. Again, it goes back to you can't predict what someone's going to do. That jail's been there 80, 90 plus years, that whole system, and we've never had that type of incident. And then that day we wake up and two officers are fighting for their lives.
Awful.
I think what the city does.
They're the deputies, the officers right there. Yeah. They're recovering still in the hospital. Yeah. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them. But go ahead. Exactly. Let's take this call here real quick. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air with Henry Perea.
Henry, I hope and pray that you become the mayor. But let me ask you a quick question now. I think the mayor's job has to be someone that is firm, and when there's a problem, you're the boss of even the chief of police. Now, right. I think that Ashley was not able to, able to talk with the chief when there was a problem, and the only time she would be out there is just to kind of, in the good points, to be there when there's a cutting ceremony, whatever. But I think you yourself or whoever's going to be the mayor needs to be out there with the public to find out where the problem is, because, media put a bad rap on police department, and, until you hear all the issues and whatnot, then you yourself will have to decide, is it good for Fresno or it isn't. But I hope that the next mayor that comes in can be firm and not afraid you take your position and do your job the way the people want you to do it. That's all I want to say.
Right. No, and thank you. That's a great call. Yeah, it is. And I think that's what this mayor's race is about. It's about leadership styles. It's about who can either anticipate problems or when a problem occurs.
Do you think you'd be more firm than Lee Brand on certain issues like
no
crime
question.
and why?
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. I think all people need to do is just look to my record where I have been confronted with difficult issues and how I have reacted. And I think there's no question that, I mean, the buck really does stop at the mayor's office in this case. I mean, you have a mayor that oversees $1 billion budget, has 3,000 city employees. So it's the mayor working with the city council who absolutely sets the vision for a city, then allocates dollars to that vision. But the most important piece is what this caller just hit on, is that at some point somebody has to be in charge. And what I see myself as the mayor, and whether it's the chief of police, the fire chief, or all the other department heads we have, I'm going to be a very hands-on mayor. I mean, they're going to understand what my vision is, how we see this city, and we're going to be marching together. And we're going to be having more discussions, I think, than mayors in the past have had with their department heads. They're going to understand.
Has Ashley been as firm as she should be in certain issues? Because in the beginning with Jerry Dyer, it almost looked like Dyer was going to be out.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on at the beginning, but I just look back at the recent issues that happened around this country, and I look at the way, just for example, Dallas, the way the mayor and police chief came out together and they spoke not just to their city but to the nation.
That didn't happen here.
That didn't happen here. You know, Chief
so
Dyer.
There's no rapport.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the circumstances are, but I can't tell you how many corners of this city I was in where I think Chief Dyer did a good job in messaging, you know, what was happening here. But I think even at some point, I think the Fresno Bee even criticized the mayor saying, where are you? Why aren't you?
On the Dylan Noble case.
On the Dylan Noble, where are you? And she finally did come out. But, you know, a leader has to lead. You know, a leader has to be in front of every issue. It's not just about cutting ribbons. You know, it's about also when the going gets tough, you got to get out there and make sure you calm your folks and people know that you're the leader, you're in charge, and you're going to get people through the tough times too. And I think that's going to be the difference in my style and Lee's style, because I think Lee has spent a lot of time, he prides himself in writing policies. You know, he calls them acts. Well, that's great, you know, but that's what managers do. You know, you hire managers to write policies and acts, because when you're doing that, you're looking down at a desk writing. You're not looking up. And when you're not looking up, you're not paying attention. And I think that's what we need. We need a mayor who's going to be paying attention to this city, anticipating problems and fending them off. But when problems do come in unexpectedly, you deal with them.
Yeah, there's the opponent right there, Lee Brand, and here is Henry Perea, and he is running against Lee Brand. November the 8th is the election, and it's coming upon us very fast here. 436-MeTV, option 11. You have an open phone line. If you get the recording, just hit option 11. Back with more of our conversation with the man who wants to be mayor of Fresno.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
This is Tough TV, Tough Sports, Tough Lifestyle, Tough Drama, Tough Reality, Tough Talk, Tough Specials, Tough Movies, Tough TV.
Now on KBHF 4.2.
Are you tough enough?
Back here on the program with Henry Perea. Let me ask you a question that's going around the circles on the presidential side, and that is the issue of health. And as a candidate for mayor, how old are you?
I am 64 years old.
Well, you look great. You don't look a day over 24.
There you go. I like that.
Okay, so let me ask you a health issue. How is your health? How's your cholesterol? They're talking about this in the presidential race. I guess we have a right to know as if you're running for mayor, you know, how's your heart? How's your cholesterol? How's your blood sugar? How's this? How's that? Have you been checked out?
Well, I mean, like everybody else our ages, you know, you go to your periodic examinations every year and do whatever follow-ups they recommend. I'm healthy as a bull. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
You work out?
Yes.
You do every day.
Every day, and it's not. I'm not at the gym lifting weights. I have you know, all the equipment at home. I walk a lot. I do a lot of push-ups in between commercials when I'm watching TV shows. I do my sit-ups, and a lot of cardio is what I do. And I eat well.
But overall, you're in great shape.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'll bet you didn't expect that question.
No,
this morning.
I didn't.
See, have you ever been asked that question?
Never have.
See, well, now it
there
came
you
up.
go.
I want to know what kind of health, and I'm going to ask Lee Brand the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I may sit with Dr. Oz and have him do a further analysis with me, but we'll see.
I want details. How about the cholesterol? Have you had that checked?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm on a statin, so mine has gotten down. It's lower, but I'm not running for mayor.
Yeah.
So I don't. Hey, we have a call here. I'm just doing a show. That's all I do. I don't know how to do anything else. So, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, this is Anthony. I live in Madera, California.
Okay.
There's some things sometimes we need to go back in history and use information that was useful back in the 60s.
Okay. I'm not sure what the question is, but
Okay, what I wanted to say, I know as I'm seeing it, your broadcast live, but we need to do things like what was said back in Kennedy's administration, like ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country.
Okay.
And we need to use those statements towards our education into our schools and to indoctrinate what goals the youngsters may need to be taught and fall back on.
Okay.
They need to be asked those questions for their future goals, and also that and tell them about the space race.
Okay.
Or John F. Kennedy's speeches, and to understand what was going on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call. We're short on time, so I hate to cut you short, but we kind of get the gist of it.
But he makes a great point. I mean,
ask what your city can do for you, but what
you can do for your city.
Right.
And it's that balance of personal responsibility and government. I mean, if anybody expects government to do it all for them, they're going to be disappointed, because government can't and shouldn't do it all. So it's a partnership. And I'll give you a great example. I mean, look at the curbside appeal of Fresno right now. For all the resources we have, drive down to freeways, and we're ashamed of them. You know, to me, that's a city that is not paying attention and taking pride in itself. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to demonstrate how we can make that different. We're going to, on the 41 in Herndon, 41 in Bryant, we're going to clean up those on and off ramps. So it's going to be a combination of county resources, because it's my county project that I'm working on as a supervisor, but it'll be Caltrans. But we have 200 volunteers from the community who are going to come out and be a part of it. So that's the future, I think, of any community that's going to be effective, is how do you partner your resources, intergovernmental, but also bringing in the community to be a part of making the change.
I saw Council Member Steve Brandow out there cleaning up along Highway 41 or 99, cleaning out the brush himself.
Well,
he was out there himself.
That's good.
He posted it on Facebook, and I just happened to see it. That's exactly what you're talking about. You have to take another break here. 436 MeTV option 11. It's the bottom of the hour, so we better take a break, and feel free to call in. This is your time and your opportunity. If you want to call in and ask any question of the man who's running for mayor, it won't be the last time he'll be here. He'll be here on the program one more time before election time, so very limited time, to say the least, between now and November the 8th. Back in just a moment.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music.
Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country. The only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
You know, I got to tell you, I've hosted many times on Power Talk 96.7, not recently, so different brand of callers over there than we have here. Have you noticed that, Henry?
Yeah.
I think the callers over there are a little more abrasive. I'm not sure. We have great callers, but go ahead. Caller, you're on the air with Henry Perea.
Mr. Perea, I agree wholeheartedly that you have to start with children to make an impact as to how they grow up. And if you have people, no matter what race, hanging around with other people that have already given up, they will give up also.
Right.
I would like to know, how could I volunteer for the cleanup?
Okay.
The cleanup freeways?
Yeah, in 2 weeks is coming up. You could just go to my Fresno County website, and we have all the information posted there, and be happy to have you with us.
Yep. What kind of things would I need to bring, or should I just show up in durable shoes and long pants?
That's all you need. We'll provide all the equipment that you need to help us get the job done. Thank you for helping. I appreciate it.
Can you tell me how many hours I would expect to be there?
You know, we're going to do it from about 7 a.m. to about noon, so it's only going to be half a day.
Cool deal.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm not a sweat.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the call. You know, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll get more information about that. And when's the date on that?
It's a week from this Saturday. So that's
not this Saturday, but the following
Correct.
Saturday. You know, I like to do, because, you know, this young generation, here's my point. I have 2 kids, and the younger generation, and listen, I love my kids. I'm not bashing my kids, but the younger generation, this generation of teens and millennials, and they don't know hard work, do they, Henry?
That's right.
They don't. Maybe I'll bring my son out there.
That'd be great.
Let him, bring a shovel or something, and, a pick or whatever. Bring some overalls and do some hard labor out there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that should be in every school, at the minimum, the high school level, community service. And I would love every summer to take kids out and have them work in the fields for a week. I mean, people need to understand what hard work is. And I think what that does, it sets the base for you to say, okay, well, I can now connect why it's so important to stay in school and learn and do good things.
All right, a lot of ground to cover here in a short amount of time. Let's put up that picture of the Fulton groundbreaking with Mayor Ashley Swearingen. And I think she has a shovel in hand, too, and a lot of people do, actually, maybe a sledgehammer there. Fulton Mall, groundbreaking. So how is Fulton Mall going to be used? Quickly on this topic. And darn it, Henry, I've heard this since I've been in Fresno in 1996. We need to revitalize downtown. We need to revitalize downtown. I have 2 questions. How is opening up a street going to revitalize downtown? And shouldn't we be worried about revitalizing Southeast Fresno, Southwest Fresno? Downtown is fine, but what about the other parts of Fresno that need attention?
Yeah.
So that's a 2-part question.
Yeah. And what you're saying is what a lot of people in this city are saying. I mean, I'm hearing it in Northeast. I'm hearing it in Central. I'm hearing it in the Tower, Southeast. And I mean, it's important that we revitalize downtown, but it's not the only game in town.
Yeah.
And so I think you need a mayor who's going to be able to have multiple priorities at the same time and allocating resources to do it. But the Fulton Mall is where it is. They have, $18-19 million to open it. They're doing it already.
Federal money,
but it's not, just opening the street is not going to be the be-all, end-all for the Fulton Mall. I mean, until the city gets down and seriously talking with the local investors, and about what they're going to do
That's
in
the
those
street,
buildings.
by the way, that they just paved.
Yeah, what are you going to do now in those buildings? What's it going to take? What are you going to have in it? I think that's the discussion. To draw people down. Because, I mean, if people think it's just a street, well, I mean, go just one block over to Van Ness Avenue. Okay, you don't see a lot of activity on Van Ness. So, I mean, you're talking about a long-term comprehensive strategy. So if people are thinking, okay, now we have cars running up and down Fulton and everything's okay now, no, it's not. You have to develop the plan, the business plan now to bring housing and other businesses along that corridor.
Okay, let's get out of this tape and roll another piece of videotape that one of our staffers actually went up in the police helicopter, believe it or not, Henry, and took a shot of Chachansey Park. We've seen this many times. But you know what? I can't get enough of this view because it overlooks the entire city. And there it is, just a beautiful shot. Marcus Borelli shot this beautiful videotape here. I heard you on Power Talk the other day during that debate. I didn't hear the whole thing. But I've heard people try to pin you down on this before, so I might as well be...
No, go right ahead.
I might as well be media person number 10 to try to pin you down. How are you going to force the Fresno Grizzlies and Chris Cummings to pay that full $1.5 million a year in rent that initially was in the contract back in 2002?
Yeah. Well, I mean...
How do you do that?
I always
you
like
tear
to bring,
up the old one and
I always
start
like to
over?
bring things back to common sense. I mean, I own a home. I made a deal with the bank for 30 years saying I am going to pay X amount for you giving me the money to buy this home.
Yeah.
Now, I'm probably 15 years into that contract. My house is nowhere near worth what it was when I bought it during the Great Recession, and I'm upside down. But I'm not going to go to the bank tomorrow and say, hey, I don't like the deal anymore. Can you lower my payment? Can you tear up the deal? A deal's a deal. That's the way, I'm old school. That's the way I was raised. A deal is a deal.
Yeah, but Lee Brand's going to say, we've got a deal in place, and it's at $700,000 a year.
Well, here's where I see, and Lee Brand prides himself of being a businessman and being fiscally conservative. Well, at the time we cut that deal, we had the best AAA stadium in this country, and I believe we still do, and we had the best deal financially anywhere in the country, because usually municipalities pick up the more or the full cost of those stadiums. So we had a 50-50 deal. So in 2009, Chris Cummings comes to Lee Brand, and I'm not being critical of Chris Cummings. I would do the same thing he did. He came hat in hand. Hey, Lee, this is too hard. I can't afford it. We can't pay our bill. Whatever he told Lee, Lee said, okay, let me cut your deal in half. Let me shift $750,000 of your debt now to the taxpayers of Fresno. $750,000 is 7 cops.
Is that essentially what he did?
So yeah, that's a lost opportunity to hire police officers, for example. So my point is, sure, I mean, Chris is going to come and say it's too hard. We may go bankrupt. We may this. We may that.
Well, do you call Cummings in your office and say, look, Chris, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to tear up the deal and start over again?
Well, I mean, Lee tore up the deal that we made in 2002 or so, changed it, shifted that debt back. What Lee should have done is said,
hang on, caller.
What Lee should have done is said, okay, Chris, what can we do using my business experience and as a city to make you more successful so that we fill up that stadium more so you can pay your bills?
But would you call Chris into your office and talk to him about this and try to cut a new deal?
Absolutely, because this is not about now anti-Grizzly. No. That stadium belongs there. It was the right decision. Right. I believe we need AAA baseball along with a lot of other things in that stadium.
So what I would do is try to take care of it one-on-one with Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever owns that team, I would call them in and say, we are now going to create a true partnership between the city and the Grizzly teams, and we're both going to be successful. But we have to, I believe, at the end, respect the deal that we made on behalf of the taxpayers with the ownership at that time. And I think that's where Lee dropped the ball.
But can you understand how people may have a hard time believing that Chris is going to accept that?
No, I don't. Because if
wanting to pay more money.
If Chris could come to the city of Fresno and say, will you tear up the original contract we made, and of course Lee Brand did, then I would expect him in good faith to go the other way too. Because if I can prove to him that I can make you even more successful than you are today, why would a businessman not want to do that?
Is there a happy medium? Could it be a little less than 1.5?
Well, right now what I would say is the table in my mind is set at let's go back to the original deal, but I'm not just going to do it the next day. It's going to be what do we do together to be successful, both of us, so that we both make money.
Negotiation.
Next negotiation.
Okay, caller, you're on with Henry Perea. Go ahead.
Henry, real quick. Two questions real quick. Number one, why is it that they take a lot of the entertainment to Save Mart? I remember years back that, downtown was a big event,
Right.
Selling Arena, and they had everything there.
Right.
Now you're competing against probably another entertainment who took over it and sending all the good, stars or whatever to Save Mart, and they leave downtown empty. And another question too, as far as dealing with the city, as far as the Chinchesky Park, I've noticed a lot of times when they had events, baseball, whatever, they have those taco truck and vendors, and what that does with the city, they say, okay, you bring in your trucks, and they'll bring a lot of business, and the city gets 20-30%, and you guys keep the rest, okay?
Right.
And maybe it's not a lot of money, but I guarantee you, I like to eat a lot, and I know there's a lot of tacos that everybody likes to eat. But to get something from them, it'd be a good idea because it's just sitting there.
Yeah, that's why I talk about the partnerships. Look, when we bring soccer, you have 17,000 people in that city, and we should be doing that all the time. So, it's working with the Grizzly ownership to make everything more successful, and everybody wins financially. As far as the Save Mart Arena, you're right. That's why I had issues with Save Mart. Not that it doesn't belong in this city, but when you hire the same management firm to fill up both arenas, you're gonna fill up Save Mart first, and I think that's what has happened to downtown. So I think
that was Alan Autry, by the way.
Yeah, and decisions are made, and they are what they are. But I want to bring competition back to it. So I think we're going to see a different firm, or at least a different philosophy at the downtown convention center. We're going to go head to head with Save Mart.
All right, I want to take a quick break this time because I want enough time to talk about water in Northeast Fresno. Back in just a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Frigidaire Gallery appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an Energy Star qualified French door Frigidaire Gallery refrigerator. Quality appliances for the way you live. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise.
The Justice Network is here. If you haven't tuned in, you're missing a great lineup of gripping stories of real crime, plus an unprecedented effort by viewers like you to play an active role in making your community safer. You can help support law enforcement by providing information that may lead to the apprehension of dangerous criminals or find a missing child. Great shows and your chance to fight crime, only on the Justice Network.
Back here on the program. Okay, I want to put up on the screen a couple of, and I'll give you some time to look for it there, Carrie. I want to put up this tweet sent out by Henry Perea, and I'm not sure when this was. This was after the board meeting, Fresno County Supervisors the other day, so I'm not sure exactly of the day and the time. Maybe Henry can kind of clear this up. Let's put Henry's tweet up first, and you can kind of read it on the screen here. And you had a little riff and a tiff between, I guess, Borges, who is Andreas Borges, and yourself. Borges is a board member as well. And you can kind of read it for yourself. It says, at yesterday's board meeting, Supervisor Borges advises his Northeast Fresno residents that their water is too clean. All right, now Borges shot back on Twitter, and a couple of screens here with Borges and his tweet. That's one. Let's see, let me read the Borges tweet verbatim, my friends. Henry Perea's desperation. Henry Perea reveals how he would lead as mayor. He creates false quotes, ignites rather than addresses community fears, and ignores the same water contamination crisis in his own district at Orange Center in favor of voter-rich Northeast Fresno. Soundbiting is not leadership, according to Andreas Borges. So, okay, it not only happens in the Trump world of the presidential race, now it's happening in the mayor's race, and everybody is chiming in. What happened between you and Borges? You got into it there a little bit?
It was interesting. Borges is, full disclosure, he's a Lee Brand supporter, and that's fine. That's his right.
Yeah.
And there is a Northeast Fresno water issue, and he brought it to our Board of Supervisors. This is something he put on our agenda this week, not me.
Was that inappropriate?
Well, I guess it depends what your end goal is, because what he wanted to do was bring our county health officer before our board to basically say there's.
And he did.
Yeah, and he did. I think what he was trying to do is get him to say it's not a problem out in Northeast Fresno. But
it's not. Well, let's put up a picture, Kerry, of the pipe. One of the pipes. Let's go piping galvanized number one.
Yeah.
That's tell me that's not a problem.
Exactly. So I think and our county health officer, what Borges wasn't counting on is he is a man of integrity. So he basically said he stands by the health warnings that he has given to date. Yes, it is an issue. Yes, we're not Flint, Michigan, but he did say, if we have people, if they're pregnant mothers and children under 6 who are concerned about their water, don't drink the water until you're tested. I mean, if you think about that for a second.
The health director said that.
Yes.
And Borges took issue with it?
Well, I mean, they're trying to create a different narrative. Now you take it back to the political context. He's trying to create a narrative like this really isn't a problem. And I think what Borges and Lee Brand and a lot of folks at City Hall are going to find out at some point there will be an investigation into who knew what when.
Well, you've already got a lawsuit that's been
filed.
And
the lawsuits are there.
Not the last one, maybe.
Exactly. No, and you're talking about big-time national lawyers who have dealt with these types of issues around this country. So, no, there's going to be a lot of people testifying under oath of what they knew, when they knew it, and what they did about it. And I think that's the issue that I have with Lee Brand here in a leadership context as a mayor. How are you going to lead? Well, the fact is this, and in Lee's own words, he knew about the issue before he came onto the councilman because he lived there and he had an issue at his house and the city ignored his problem. So in my mind, you fast forward to 2009.
So you're saying that Lee knew it way before it became public?
Yeah. And we, this is in
because he lives in that district.
He lives in the district, and in his own words at district meetings, he admitted that. So this is not something I'm making up. He has admitted. So if you think of through the thought process, now I'm a councilman in 2009. Now I have the power of the position. I know this issue is in my district, and he does nothing for 8 years. So that's really the context of my messaging in the mayor's races. Is that the kind of leadership you want? Somebody who knows of the problem but does nothing about it.
Let's put up that picture of me holding a pipe, and this is one of the reasons I don't. You won't see me at Gold's Gym or George Brown's.
Oh
gym
boy, look at that!
Up. You know how heavy that pipe is?
Oh yeah.
It is very heavy. It's galvanized. It's contaminated, as you can see on the inside. That's one of the shows that we did with several of the residents that live out in Northeast Fresno, and I think one of the families that I interviewed here on this program, we had so many calls on this, they're one of the ones that filed a lawsuit here. You had 286 more homes test positive for lead, but Henry, here's what the opposition is saying. They're saying, look, the water is not contaminated because, it was groundwater for many years, then we opened the surface water treatment plant. Now you're getting surface water being mixed with groundwater. That's what's creating this problem. Yeah. The water coming into the house is clean, but once it gets into these galvanized pipes, because of the mixture of the two, now it's creating the problem. So it's after it enters the homes. Is that true or false?
Yeah, I believe that to be true.
So the water coming from the city is clean. It's the piping.
Well, see, here's the deal. When you mix surface and groundwater, you're always going to have a higher level of corrosiveness. Okay?
Right.
So then how do you deal with that? Well, there's a certain chemistry that you put into the water so that it minimizes that corrosiveness. See, here's the issue in the mayor's race.
Hang on, caller.
Here's the issue, is Lee Brand in 2006, in his own words, says, I knew about this problem. Now you fast forward to 2016. Okay, he came on the council in 2009. So the point that I'm trying to make is, yes, once that water crossed into the homes, they weren't dealing with the corrosiveness of it. It corroded the pipes of these homes, creating...
Because of the mixture.
Because of the mixture. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm saying, if Lee would have done his job in 2009...
And what would his job have been?
The water plant reports to him.
Okay.
He should have called up and said, hey, I had a problem in this district. I have other people in my district who are saying this is a problem. We need to get to the bottom of it and fix it. So he allowed 8 more years
to go by
of corrosive water going into these people's homes. So that's why they're being sued now, because they're saying you had knowledge, you knew, and you did nothing, and you made the problem worse. And this week's report is you have near 300
you
homes.
You believe Lee Brand knew and did nothing, and now he's backtracking?
Oh, I know he knew.
Okay.
I mean, everybody knows he did.
Caller, very short on time, but I'm glad you called. Caller? Hello?
Yes, this is for Henry. I wish he'd retire. It's time for you to retire. I'm so sick of the same people running for office. And for Sal Quintero, you're another one. He needs to go away. And my vote is for Lee Brand.
Oh, wow.
Well, thank you for, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, I respect that.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, can we move on from
Sure,
that?
Sure.
You know, maybe I should retire too. I'm an old geezer as well, so I don't know. But have you gotten that kind of a reaction from people much when you? Because I know you walk precincts, and you talk to people. You're very congenial. You're very friendly. You're very open. You're easily accessible. Do you get that kind of a negative reaction from people generally? And how do you react if you do?
Generally, no. But I mean, even though this is a nonpartisan race, people do fall sometimes along partisan lines.
Yeah.
But in most instances, people are respectful. You know, they say, you know what, you're a different party and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. I respect that.
Yeah.
And by the same token, when I knock on your door, I mean, if you're taking the time to answer that door, then I need to hear whatever you're going to tell me and smile and take it.
You don't get any angry people that answer the door and say, hey, I'm not voting for you. Get off my property.
You get a few. You get
a few.
Yeah,
and
but
how do you handle that?
You know, I thank them because like I say, you know, I went to their door. They took the time to answer that door, and I have to be a big boy and take whatever they say.
Remember, if you're elected mayor, you're also going to be representing that caller that called in.
Sure.
And her comments should be respected as well.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be representing her as well.
And if she called me the day after I'm elected and says, hey, you know what, I have a problem in my neighborhood, the street lights out or the sidewalks cracked, but I'm the person that called and said you should retire, I'd say, well, hey, that's great, but let me fix your problem. I mean, that's my job, is to represent everybody.
Yeah. We've got 3 minutes. I wish we had another full hour. I need to pin you down what you're going to do about this water situation if you're elected. What will you do about it? You're already facing one lawsuit, maybe more.
Yeah.
Specifically, Henry, what can you do about it to fix it?
Well, I mean,
you got this water that's being mixed, groundwater, surface water. How do you fix that?
That's a great question. And I think why we're at the points of lawyers right now is because the people believe and feel that they have not been heard. So they've lost their trust in City Hall. We still don't know what the size or the magnitude of the problem is. I mean, 2 months ago, there were 30 homes with lead. Now there's close to 300, and the number's going to get bigger.
What's the first thing you'll do if elected?
The first thing I'll do as I'm elected is I pull back on the city lawyers, because that was a tactical mistake the city made, is they lawyered up. So as soon as the city lawyered up, the residents lawyered up. So I think in good faith, I pull back on our lawyers. I finish the testing as fast as I can to make sure that we know what our problem is. I open immediate discussions with the residents to say, okay, we made a mistake. Accept responsibility for the issue. I think what we're all taught to do. And then we start saying, where's the middle ground? How do we help you? And I think that's what the city does, because on the other side of that coin is we have taxpayers who are going to be paying that bill. So we can't break the piggy bank either. We have to find a solution.
Okay, look in the camera there if you would, and tell the people why they should vote for you. We got got a minute.
Okay, well, I mean, I think in the last 6 months we've been doing a lot of messaging about this race, and I think the future of Fresno is in hand. And I think there's a lot of great things in this city, but there's a lot of things we can do better. And so when you look at the curb appeal of a city, when you look at the freeways and how they look, that's, to me, is a message that someone's not paying attention. And I think as a mayor, I will be paying attention to the small details, making sure we have a curb appeal that everybody's going to be proud of, but also we're going to have a safe city. We're going to have more police officers on the street. We're going to partner with Sheriff Mims and talk about how we use our police officers, her deputy sheriffs, to patrol our community differently. So how do we use the resources we have to make our community better? And it's about bringing more jobs too, and working with the education system to make sure our kids are educated and we have strong kids and strong families. So big task, but I'm up to it. I'm looking for people's support, and I hope you vote for me on Election Day.
Yeah. I'm not endorsing any candidates here on the program. I will not tell you who I'm voting for, but I will say I've known Henry a long time. You're honest, you're forthright, and you're always on time, and you always show up, and you're easily accessible, and I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you, John. I really appreciate your show and your time.
All right, and you'll come back, I think, once more before the election. All right,
Yeah.
Henry Perea wants your vote. We're back on Monday, but with a tape show. Kopi's going to be here, and I'll be playing for a good cause in a charity golf tournament for Shriners, the hospitals up and down the state of California. They do such a great job, and they did a great job with my daughter. See you back here on Tuesday live, and a tape program Monday with Kopi.
If you have a need to promote your business or event, please consider MeTV Fresno for your next campaign. MeTV reaches over 100,000 of your potential customers in the Fresno area every single week. Plus, you can rest assured that your commercial is running in the greatest family-friendly programs of all time. MeTV Fresno delivers a strong, loyal audience ready to buy, and your campaign will cost a fraction of what you're paying for your advertising now. Call me today to find out how affordable MeTV is at 905-1925.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has